Okay. I hope you can hear me. Hi, my name is Angie Gomez. I'm a student career specialist in the Office of Career Development at Linfield University. This is a prep session for the Nike Latinx Networking Night. It is a virtual event this year due to COVID, but it's still going to be amazing and definitely worth your time, and you're going to leave with knowing a lot more about yourself as a professional and just general professional tips and all of that. So the event is October 12th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you haven't already received an email from me, go ahead and check your email or shoot at career@linfield.edu an email saying, hey, I haven't gotten an email regarding the Nike Networking Night. I've so far just sent a few reminders, one about the session and about the event. We haven't yet received the Zoom link for Monday. I'm hoping to get that on Monday and share it with you all so that you can log in and attend the event. All right, so I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, so what to expect from Nike. If you went last year, go ahead and kind of think about that experience, or if you know someone who went and shared some information, kind of, just in your head, keep that in mind. It was very different to this year. Last year, we were able to go to their headquarters, which is in Beaverton, and we took about, I want to say 15 students, and we all drove there and we kind of explored the campus. It's essentially a huge campus of different buildings, and we were in one of their convention centers, and they fed us, they just entertained us for a little bit, and then we just jumped into the professional aspects of the networking night. It was a great experience. Doesn't mean that this virtual session or this virtual event on Monday isn't going to be amazing. It's definitely still going to be great and you're going to learn lots. It's just not going to be in person. And there's some drawbacks with that, but I would definitely encourage you to just go in with a positive mindset and just give it your all, and really try to engage with people who are taking their time to make the event for you. Okay, so Nike is a pretty relaxed environment and company. The atmosphere is definitely a mix of professionalism, kind of with sport as well. So a lot of the people who work there are still very professional, but it's not as if you were going to some law firm or kind of like that. They're a lot more relaxed. The way they dress, their personality is very engaging, very positive, very just kind of upbeat. And everyone is very nice and welcoming and really wanting to engage with you. That's one thing that they really, really want to do. It is a networking event, so they really want you to share, to talk, to get to know them, and for them to get to know you. They will have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. They're hosting the event, so you kind of want to try and match that as best you can when you speak. You don't want to sound like, you're having the worst time of your life. And if you are, that's okay. Then just, maybe kind of listen instead of engage as much. But you'll still learn a lot if you just listen. So the event is going to be a combination of a few different schools in Oregon. I think Pacific University is also going to be there, maybe Portland State. But it's only 3 to 4 schools or universities that are attending the event, and we're one of them. So it's still going to be fairly small. So it's not just going to be like pages and pages of Zoom. And the primary organizers of the event are the Latino and Friends Network, which Nike has a bunch of different subgroups. I call them subgroups. They call them employee networks, which is the correct term. but I like to think of them as little subgroups of Nike. They have Latino and Friends Network. They have Women of Nike. They have a bunch of different other ones. And that's actually a link that I wanted to share with you right here. I'm not sure how it's going to redirect us using Zoom, so just bear with me. Okay. So I'm hoping you can all see the Nike Employee Networks page. So like it says, it just kind of unifies employees and allies. And really they just try to engage with the community within Nike and the community outside of Nike. They create events like this. And they do research. They try to be as inclusive and diverse as they can, and really try and kind of emphasize that throughout their company, not just within networks. So there's a few other ones. There's Black Employee Network and Friends, Latino and Friends, which is who are the primary organizers for this event. Military Veterans and Friends, Native American Networks and Friends, Pride, Women. Those are the 9, I believe, or so they have as of right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to here, figure out how I can, okay, there we go. Let's see, where did we go? Okay, yes, so overall, they really just want you to learn, to engage, and to leave inspired. One thing that Nike does very, very well is they create emotion. They're really good at creating emotion in their clothing brands. You see something and you're like, I want to wear that. That inspires me. I want to wear it. I want to, be a part of that kind of clothing culture. And they do it really well in their advertisements. You see a video, it motivates you, it inspires you, it makes you want to go run a mile or something, or really keep pushing forward if you play basketball, or if you swim, or if you play tennis or something like that. So they ultimately want to inspire you to become an even better professional, and take what you learned at the event and use it, apply it, and be excited about it. Okay. So moving on, so some common networking courtesies. So for Zoom, we are all aware of how Zoom works, I hope. We're on Zoom right now. So in March, I want you to kind of think about how it was a learning experience for a lot of us, for a lot of professors as well, and for a lot of people around the world. Personally, I had never heard of Zoom until COVID really hit the United States. And then it was like Zoom. I said Zoom more than I said many other things in my life. So it was also a great learning experience, and allowed us to really come together in ways we didn't necessarily think we could before. So I also want you to think about possibly if you were ever in class and you had your screen on like this, and you had perhaps some family members walk by, or a pet, or just background noise that wasn't, I kind of maybe wasn't as appropriate for the setting. For class, it's not as much of a big deal. But, oops, sorry, there was an email that came in. So going back to what I was saying, you just want to make sure that you're in a space where you don't have that many distractions for yourself and for others. Because Nike is it's going to be a professional networking event. Nike is a little bit more laid back, but it's still a professional networking event. So I want us to think about space. So where are you? Are you in your living room, kitchen, on your desk, or sitting at your desk, in a classroom? Where are you going to attend the event? The nice part about this being a virtual event is you could really be anywhere you want, and as long as it's comfortable for you and professional as well, and appropriate. So if you're in your room and your roommate's there, or you share space with someone, That's totally fine. I'm in an office right now, and I'm all alone, but that might not be the case for you. So I also just want you to think about what's available on campus. You could reserve a room if you really want to, be fully engaged in the event. And if you have questions about doing that, feel free to email career@linfield.edu, or you could just, go to the library, walk into one of the private rooms. There's a bunch of classrooms that are open pretty late, and you could just kind of swipe in and, sit in a room and attend the event. Or if you're in your bedroom, if you're sitting at your desk or sitting at your bed, just make sure, people around you know that you're attending this event, and to be courteous and about noise and all of that. So if you are in your room, you want to just make sure, or really wherever you are, that your background is appropriate, isn't very distracting. So like this wall is just plain white. There's a chair behind me, but it's fairly just no distractions is the point. So it doesn't distract you and others. Okay, so moving on to camera. So if I was talking to you and going through this video or prep session and my camera was off, it would be a little awkward. It would be, you wouldn't put a face to the name, or you just would be kind of listening and looking at the slide. So in a networking event, it's really important to have your camera on. If you have your camera off, it's more likely to make you less engaged and for others to be less likely to engage with you. And I'm not sure how the event is going to go, but perhaps they're going to put you in breakout rooms, or they're going to do some kind of Zoom thing that we don't know how to do. I only know how to put people in breakout rooms. Maybe they'll do something that really requires you to engage with other people or with other professionals, and you want to, have your camera on so you can be a part of that experience fully. And they can't see your face if you have your camera off, and they won't know really who you are or put a face to the name. People are more likely to remember individuals if they have a name and a face. So just if you can, have your camera on. If you can't, that's fine. But just try to find, again, think about where you're going to be, the space you're going to be in, and if that allows you to have your camera on or not. Because if you're going to attend this event, you really want to get the full experience. So noise. If you have headphones, I'm wearing headphones right now. Use them. If you're in a quiet space, and you know that if you take your mute off and you speak, there shouldn't be too much background noise, then you don't have to wear headphones. But headphones just help eliminate the noise around you so that people can just hear your voice. So that's just a small detail. Professionalism. So this event is more relaxed, and since Nike is a sports company, wearing one of their t-shirts is not, they're not gonna be like, oh, this person, didn't dress up. They're gonna be like, hey, that's our brand. So as long as you wear something, appropriate, it could be a blouse, a sweater, a t-shirt, whatever makes you comfortable, but it's still appropriate. If you want to wear a blazer and go full on professional, totally fine. If you want to wear like a Nike sweater or a Nike t-shirt, that's totally fine as well. The only thing you don't want to do is wear any competing brands. So it is a Nike event, so you're going to be dealing with people from Nike, right? Or you're going to be engaging, sorry, not dealing with. You're going to be engaging with people from Nike. So wearing an Adidas shirt or an Adidas sweater, or if you have a poster that says Adidas on the back of your wall, that's not going to be, very appropriate or kind as you're attending a Nike sponsored event. So just kind of for the moment, for the event, get rid of the competing brands, which are mainly Adidas, Under Armour, whatever else kind of sports company that isn't Nike. Okay, moving forward. So an overview of an elevator pitch. You can clearly read the slide and be like, okay, got it. You know, keep it short, essentials, positive, persuasive, practice, practice, practice. The hard part is really doing it and doing it in person. I've written elevator pitches out and you've been like, okay, this is good, I got it. And then you go and practice it and your mind, because of one pressure, the time constraint, it's 60 seconds or less, your mind just kind of goes, oh, what was I supposed to say? So that's why they really say practice, practice, practice. So last year, elevator pitches were a main focus, and the construction of an elevator pitch was something that they really helped us with for those who attended last year. This year, I'm not sure if they're gonna make that a focus or not, but if they do, great, you're extra prepared. If they don't, when you go and network, you'll already have a sense of, how do I describe myself as a professional? How do I introduce myself without taking 5 minutes to talk about myself? Because especially, I would say in a virtual networking event, you don't have, you know, the in-person social cues or interaction. You're not standing conversating with someone for maybe 10 minutes. Virtually, you could possibly do that, but it's going to be a lot of people in one Zoom meeting. So that's why we think that the elevator pitch is going to be really helpful to, if they're like, hey, you know, Angie, tell me about yourself. Like, who are you? Obviously, you go to Linfield. But what else? Then you can really just be like, okay, I have these key things that I want to touch on and just say it. And they will be impressed. Okay, so I was planning to do some practice in breakout rooms, but I think since we're just posting this onto our YouTube and perhaps our social media, I want you to kind of think about how you would go about introducing yourself. If you normally, when you meet someone, what do you say? And maybe take, 5 minutes thinking about that or less. I'm going to move forward because I'm not going to wait 5 minutes. But, on your own time, just pause the video and think about what you would say when introducing yourself. Okay. So what sort of things did you say when you introduced yourself? Did you maybe say, oh, I'm Angie, I'm from Ketchikan, Alaska? A lot of people tend to say where they're from, and some people just kind of jump into very big descriptors of where they come from, maybe their family. I have a brother and a sister, or, I work at this place, which all can be very important, but it depends on where you are and who you're talking with. And that's why I encourage you after this video, and perhaps in future occasions, to write a few different elevator pitches. Kind of be like, okay, if I'm at a networking event with professionals, obviously you might not want to be like, I have a brother and a sister, or, I'm from Kansas or something like that. You could say that later on in the conversation after you've kind of established what you do, your roles, your more professional career aspects. And then if the conversation continues, perhaps they'll be like, oh, where are you from? I'm not sure if you mentioned that, or I was wondering where you were from, or, what's your family like? So just starting the conversation off in a more quick and professional way. Okay, so overall, what you want to highlight, and this is, again, like I said, adaptive to what company you're perhaps at or environment, but you want to share what is important and related to your professional self. Okay, so now I want you to, after kind of talking about that and how you want to really highlight some more professional aspects of yourself, I want you to think of and take a few minutes to do this again and just pause the video. But what are some professional things you do? And when I say professional, I mean that could be student leader. What position do you have on campus, perhaps? Especially right now, since we are in undergrad, your introductions are going to be, I go to the school, perhaps you do research. Maybe you're involved in a sorority or fraternity. Maybe you have a leadership within that sorority or fraternity. Maybe you're involved in a sport or you're a captain, or whatever you think is important and related and something that they'll be like, oh, that's, really cool. Go ahead and kind of think in your brain and write stuff out. Okay. So, like the infographic says, you want to keep it short and sweet. Think of it as, like it says, a sales pitch. And the reason why it's called an elevator pitch is because imagine you're going up an elevator, which probably 60 seconds or less, right? If you were to, have a conversation with someone in 60 seconds or less and you had to introduce yourself, what would you say? What key details would you kind of let them know about yourself to where they would either, want to get coffee with you later, set up a meeting, become a contact for you, or maybe they'll give you their business card, or you'll give someone your business card or something like that. So that's why it's called an elevator pitch, is because it's short. Okay. So that can be one of the hardest things to do, is the pressure of doing it in 60 seconds or less sometimes really gets to your head, and that's why the last one, practice, is really important. Okay, going back a little bit. So focusing on the essentials. So who are you? What do you do? And what do you want to achieve? Those are very broad things. So you want to really narrow them down and say, and that's why I asked you earlier in the video, to think of some things you do, whether that was leadership positions or research, or this class you took and you presented this research project or a paper or something like that, or you recently read a book and it really touched you and it's inspired you in some way. So you really want to emphasize, who are you as an individual, but as a professional individual as well. What do you do? So obviously many of us right now, we're students. So you could be like, I'm an undergraduate student studying, I'm studying psychology and English literature, double major. So you could kind of be like, oh, I'm a student, I'm studying, I plan to continue to go to grad school, and whatever you think is relative or related to the conversation you're about to have. And again, depends on the individual. And what do you want to achieve? So that can be also really hard in deciding, because it's very broad. So if you were preparing for an elevator pitch at Nike, they obviously are a sports related company. So who are you? They're probably going to want to know, why are you here? Who are you? Why did you want to come? So obviously you heard about this through our career office. You're a student, and kind of, give some background as to Linfield, student, perhaps your major, and what do you do? What do you do on campus? What maybe perhaps positions or internships or volunteer work do you do on campus or off campus that you think they would enjoy hearing about? And what do you want to achieve? So that could be future career goals. That could be your, the position you want to get when you graduate from college, or a few years after some work. What are your goals, is what they're asking. So you want to be positive and persuasive. Because your time is limited, you don't want to be like, oh, you know, I'm Angie. You want to be enthusiastic. You want to be like, hi, I'm Angie. I'm, you know, undergraduate student at Linfield University. Because the more you're excited about it, the more likely they are going to be excited about it and want to hear more about what you're saying. And I really encourage students when they come in for resume help or cover letter help. And same goes for when you're presenting yourself to employers. Don't be afraid of really emphasizing the work you do. I think a lot of the times in society, we tend to be shy or not want to be seen as like very egocentric or almost, in a more slang term, cocky. So kind of put that aside. You are trying to get individuals to want to have a conversation with you, to engage with you, to give them for them to give you their business card, or to set up a meeting. Or maybe after the conversation, they'll be like, hey, if you ever need anything, email me. And that is why you want to emphasize really what you do. Don't be bashful. Be like, hey, you know, I did this awesome research project. I got an internship. I work at this awesome place. Or I really am dedicated and I work 3 jobs to afford college. Kind of share some of your story. That's ultimately what they want to know. And focus on what you want to do, your future career goals. And again, the more excited you are, the more likely they are going to be excited about listening to what you do and who you are. And again, practicing is really important. The more you practice, the more likely you are to become comfortable just kind of quickly introducing yourself. And this you're going to use for the rest of your life, which is why it's really important to practice it. You're going to go into interviews and they're going to be like, tell us about yourself. And you obviously, depending on the amount of time, you'll have maybe, hopefully, more than 60 seconds to do so. But you also want to be able to be direct, concise, really hit what you want so you're not wasting time and you get their attention. Yes, so moving forward, virtually, since last year in the event, when the event kind of concluded, there was a networking, you had more of a chance to network within the people who were at the event. This year, I'm not sure how they will do that. Maybe they'll put you in different groups, or they'll put you in different Zoom meetings. I'm not sure how they'll go about doing that, but don't be afraid to do it yourself, to reach out and be like, hey, you know, this presenter from Women in Nike and Friends, she seemed like she has a lot of knowledge and experience, and I really want to connect with her. Go ahead and, in a very, you know, appropriate and professional way, private message them, which you can do on Zoom. You know, hopefully they'll have their names, like it says career development on here. Hopefully their names will be present, so you can send them a message and be like, introduce yourself. Again, elevator pitch. Be like, hi, my name is Angie Gomez. I was really touched or inspired with what you talked about, and kind of start the conversation. You don't want to send them a full, long message because you are within a networking event. So the likelihood of them, you know, reading it during the event might not be super high, or at least a super long message. You can also format some contact info for yourself. So, you know, in emails, how they have the signage. Think of it as your business card. Send it to people. Be like, hi, you know, I was really inspired of what you talked about. I'm interested in, you know, working with Nike someday, or I really just want to get my foot in the door into sports management or business or marketing, advertising, whatever it might be. Just, give a little description as to why you're reaching out to them. Put your contact information, and don't be afraid to just private message them. If you have a chance, you could even, if you are in a smaller group, you could be like, hi, so-and-so, like I just really wanted to thank you for sharing, and I am elevator pitch, and then continue on with what you wanted to talk to them about. And ask questions. That is one thing, is if you're attending a networking event, you should expect to engage, to talk, to ask some questions, to really take the experience and learn from it. You're there, so why not, there's no harm done if you reach out to someone and maybe they won't answer you back, but at least you tried, right? And that leads me to the next bullet point, which is write people's names down. So if you see someone who you really were inspired by, but you were maybe too nervous to private message them or ask them a question, or directly engage with them in that moment, write their name down. And then what you can do is, we have a lot of alumni at Nike, and we have people who we can contact through our office, and possibly we could find out who that person was, what they do, who they work for. Not in like a FBI kind of way, but in a way we can get an email perhaps, and that way you can reach out and be like, hi, I'm Angie Gomez. I attended the Nike Latinx networking night, and etc. So overall, you can private message people, I would say, but be appropriate about it. And in that, or with some context as to why you're messaging them, send your contact information out, as if you were, signing off on an email. Angie Gomez, major, minor, whatever, if you have two majors, Winfield University, a phone number, an email, whatever you're comfortable with. And that way you can reach out, and they will hopefully also provide some contact information, or just help you through what your question was, or a resource. Okay. Again, with the questions. So don't be bashful. Like I said earlier, it's a networking event, so ask questions. I would encourage you to write some questions out before the event, so that you can be ready to ask them. If one kind of pops in your head, wait your turn, raise your hand. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Maybe they'll have like a flagging system, but then that way you can, engage. Try to not ask just kind of yes or no questions. You want open-ended questions, so that they can be like, that's a great question, let me tell you why, or let me help you get to a resource where that maybe will answer your question. It just more likely helps the conversation flow better than them just being like, yes. For example, if you ask them, does Nike have internships? They're going to be like, yeah, check out our website. If you say, what kind of internships do they have? How would you encourage students to prepare for an internship at Nike? Or how do people get into Nike? Those are questions that they will be able to elaborate on, and not just be like, yeah, go to our website. Okay, so internships. Before I start talking about internships specifically, I think it's important, and they will, in a way, address this at the event perhaps they did last year, it is very hard to get into Nike. If you apply, there's tons of people obviously who want to work at Nike. It's like a dream opportunity, right? So they have the opportunity to pick and choose who they want. And of course, it depends on the job position. But even then, it's hard to get your foot in the door immediately, perhaps after graduating from college. That's why a lot of people, you'll hear perhaps if they have speakers, they'll share that maybe they started at Under Armour, or maybe they started at Adidas and now they're Nike, which is two very different companies. They're both sports related, but they're different. Or maybe they started in some advertising company in Portland or something. And that's one thing is Nike is a sports company, right? But they have opportunities for everyone because they are doing so many different things, right? They have advertising teams. They need to reach out. They need to do research. They need basically like a full circle of positions to make the company work. You have fashion designers. You have people who are looking at the environmental effects of how they make clothing or something like that. So if you're attending this event and say maybe you're an anthropology major and you think, oh, you know, this seems like a cool professional event for me to learn some skills, but I don't know if Nike's really somewhere that an anthropology major would get into, or, you know, have a position there. You don't know that. Nike, again, is a very diverse company that requires a lot of different career fields. So that being said, Nike opportunities. Okay. So we are going to do the United States. Okay. So this is their careers page. And I encourage you to check this out before you attend the event or after. Either way, they have lots of opportunities for individuals. There's a few different internship positions that they have every year. And if I remember correctly, their application dates are in the fall, which you can easily find here. Internships around the world, Nike is worldwide. And again, they partner with different companies. So if you say Converse, or I actually don't know if Converse is a Nike-owned company. I don't know. But overall, like say you like Converse more than you like Nike shoes or something like that, there's Converse internships. So then here you'll see marketing, design, a lot of different areas, and this really shows kind of the diverse fields, career fields that are available. So you could even, going back to questions, these are some common questions you could ask during the networking night, and maybe they could elaborate on it more than if you just looked at here. Maybe you could be like, oh, you know, I checked out your website. I see that internships are paid. And what kind of benefits do they have, if they have any? So that is the internship page. So let me go back. Okay. So yes, long story short, internships, there's many internships at Nike, and again, it's not just sport related, it's a variety of different career fields. So I encourage you to check it out before or after the event. And then the important part is if you find an internship, whether it be at Nike, whether it be at OHSU or anywhere else, or even, you know, you're graduating soon and you want to really prepare yourself, work on your resume, practice an interview, get that cover letter ready, come to career development. we are more than happy to help you edit, look, search, prepare, or kind of help you through the thinking process of where do you want to start? Where do you see yourself? Our professional staff is amazing at doing that, and our career specialists like myself, we're trained to also help to a certain degree, obviously, students explore those opportunities, edit, practice, and all of that. So don't be afraid. Whatever year you're at, whether you're first, second, third, or fourth, come on in. It's never too late or too soon to start. Okay, so that is what I have for you. I think that went a little bit longer than I was anticipating, but there was a lot to say. And I started a little bit later than I anticipated. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email career@linfield.edu, stop on by. Of course, right now, please walk in with a mask or set up an appointment so that we can help you either further prepare for this event or other events you might attend. If you have an interview soon or you have a position you're looking at, if you have questions, just anything, come on in, email us, reach out, and we can help you best we can. All right, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you were able to learn some stuff and to help you prepare for the event on Monday. And I'm just gonna kind of go back to that first page. So again, it is on October 12th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's a virtual event. And as I was going through the slides, I thought to myself, I encouraged you to have your camera on. I'm not sure what kind of rules or procedures they'll have. If they tell you to turn your camera off, abide by their policies or, event rules. But if not, again, I encourage you to have your camera on. Again, practice that professional environment, appropriate environment as well. And just, get into a space or headphones help as well to where you're not distracted and you're not distracting others who are attending the event. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I bet it's gonna be wonderful. It's Nike, they're great, it's a great company, and when I went last year, it was really awesome to learn kind of more in depth who they are as a company and the people who work for them, the diversity within that, and you really feel welcomed. So I hope you have a great time at the event. I will definitely be sending you an assessment email to see how the event went, if you had any issues or what you enjoyed the most. And yes, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Bye.